other stuff. So, can I be heard? I, unfortunately, or fortunately, depending on which camp you're in, will not be here for the next 3 days. I've got to go and do a course online, so I'm staying at home to do that, so I won't be in for the next 3 days. So I thought, what's the best use of this time? Cover. So I thought, rather than doing a quiz on systems equations, I'm actually going to give you an assessment. I am planning to give you that assessment on Friday when I am back. Now, what that means is that you have 2 lessons Tuesday and Thursday. You don't have. Is it? Oh, I might think about it being on Thursday. So, do we have Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday? I think of my own function. Well, Thursday, so I won't be here. But Thursday, you'll have this. That gives you today, so I've got that. Tomorrow, Wednesday, to prep. I'm just going to say, whoever comes in, you are prepping. Yes.
So it's a test.
It's an assessment, test, exam, whatever word you want to do it. Criterion A.
Everything is going to.
Well, that's what I'm going to go through now. What I'm going to be, because it's quite a new decision for me today, so I haven't created the test yet, so I'm going to. That's why it impacted you, because obviously you were going to do your SCAP problem, but I'm not going to do that until after this one. All right. So, let's discuss. And what we'll do is we'll discuss, and then you can go to your textbook and you can put some page numbers to this stuff. As we were talking assessment. So you are doing an assessment on systems of linear, only linear equations. Okay. What are you going to be testing? Yes, James.
The elimination and substitution.
Yeah. Right. Definitely. Which one or both? So, really, in an assessment, I could ask you to be specific. I could say, I want you to do this one elimination and this one substitution, or I could just ask you for the most efficient method out of those two. These two, by the way, are what we would call an algebraic methods. Okay, they are algebraic methods. Just in case you, if that comes up in a test and you go, "Suppose, what do you mean by an algebraic method?" And I'll go, "Wrote that on my video and you didn't write it in your notes, so I'm not telling you. Get on with it." All right, Jackson.
Once again, the word equation.
Okay, yeah, we'll get there in a sec, but you're right. We had elimination substitution method, they are algebraic methods. We also had another method, which is graph. Okay. We can solve through a graphical method by graphing the equations. We also talked about, you might have forgotten this because it was a while and we did it quite early on, the number of possible solutions. Do you remember what that's about? Could be infinite, So it was, or it could be,
No, it doesn't depend on.
yeah, but how many could there be? So how many possible solutions are there to a system of linear equations? So we could have one solution. We can have an infinite number of solutions. There is one other option. One, infinite, or none. Hopefully you'll remember what will be the situation for one, what will be the situation for an infinite, and what would happen if we've got zero. We didn't look at it a lot, but we definitely talked about it, and it should be in there in that section of the textbook. All right. So we've got substitution, elimination methods. What was the question I always kept asking you for a few lessons in a row? What does it mean to solve a system equation? Yeah. So I will obviously expect you in some way to be able to demonstrate you know what it means to. Now that might just come as a given by the solution that you find. I might have to specifically ask you in a question. I haven't decided how I want to address that point of knowledge yet, but you know, it could come up. Yes.
Wait, so when you say algebraic methods, you mean substitution?
So they are the two algebraic methods we have, yes. Elimination and substitution are two algebraic methods. The one method that's not algebraic is the graphing method. If I asked you to use a graphing method, I could provide you with the graphs and just say, using the graph, find the solution, and you just have to remember to do that. I could say, here are the two equations, show me how you would use graphs to solve them. I could ask you to plot them exactly, accurately, or I could ask you to just use technology to find them and draw a sketch. If I said using if I said using tech, what are you going to have to calculator or laptop with Desmos, GeoGebra, whichever one is option to you, but that potentially needs to be part of your review, right? Can you use your technology available to you to do the graphing? Right? I probably, depending on how everything else goes though, right? Probably won't ask you to draw the graph accurately because that's another skill for another assessment, which we did last year and you should already have that. It's more about using the graph to find the solutions. All right. And then I think, as Jackson said, kind of the final bit was applications of equations. And what was that about, the applications of the systems equations? What did you have to do? Yeah.
To like solve word questions.
Yeah, so word questions. So what criteria could this one be if I decide I've got a decent question? D. So these I would say are all criterion A. I could potentially, and I'll tell you once I've written it, but you're going to study them anyway, I could attribute a criterion D score, which would be good. We did one. I haven't looked at your group, but they're all group ones, aren't they? So this will be your chance to. I think so, yeah. And I know Miss Garnett is writing a test for hers at the moment, which is criterion B. So potentially I could steal that when she's finished. All right, so you've got those things basically to work on. So, because I'd quite like to add it to this list and video, how about you now spend 5 minutes going through and for each thing you put down page references, exercise references next to your list, then I can ask you, we can put it on the video and then for the people that are not here, they will have that. So going through your textbook, what pages, what exercises, Are there other things like in elimination and substitution? Are there things that you need to be aware of? Little notes you could make on your notes? Stuff that you need to be aware of how to do? Because we did a lot of prep up to this stage, didn't we? On what was it called? ET. What does ET stand for? The first thing we started with on this topic, this unit. There you go. Equivalence. What was that about, by the way? What was equivalence transformations?
Flip the equation back into itself, the other equation.
That's solving. Equivalence transformations is a skill or a tool that we used in this thing. And the reason why I say that is because I should be able to give you any set of system of equations and say, well, they've got the toolkit, they've got the skills to do the equivalence transformations to solve this, therefore they should be able to do it. Is it? If I want to know what equivalence transformations are. Yeah. Changes to equations that do not change the equivalence to either side of the equal sign, yeah? So for instance, 2 plus 2 does equal 4, yeah? 2 times 2 plus 2 equals 4 times 2. Alright, which would then give me 2 times 2 plus 2 equals 8. Alright, it is not the same statement, but I've applied a transformation that keeps the equivalence alive, keeps it true. Alright, and you had to deal with a full range of things, didn't you? You had to deal with fractions, you had to deal with decimals, you had to deal with multiple different denominators with fractions, all to make one equation workable, to be able to simplify it. Do you see how you need to have those skills to work with 2 equations? Well, hopefully you will, because you've had to make changes, deal with fractions, deal with decimals, deal with them when they're in the wrong order, all of that stuff. Yeah. Anyway, have a look at page references. What have you got to offer? Izzy? Which, for what? Elimination, so you're saying page 416 gives you elimination method. Okay? Yeah?
For practicing elimination and substitution, practice 2 and 3 over pages 413.
413 to 400 and that's elimination and substitution.
Well, it's practice.
Practices. So both of those things on the page. Okay. Didn't mean to cross that out. Jackson?
For page number 421, with it has like a summary with transformations, methods.
So page 421 has a complete summary of the whole thing.
Yeah, and a mixed practice that goes on to 412.
So that would be a good. So in that mixed practice, is there word questions and stuff?
Yes.
Yeah?
What was it?
421. Is there anything on graphing specifically? Should all be around those pages, shouldn't there? Is there anything there specifically? I think it's the first thing that they talk about comes up. That's why it's one of the first things that I see. So even if it's an example.
Systems.
Page 411, that gives you some, just the graphing thing, yeah?
And for third.
The 410, 411.
410 is about,
Okay. So 411 is graphing. 410 you think is equivalence transformations. Anywhere have you identified where it talks about the number of possible solutions? Is there any exercise that specifically says determine how many solutions there will be? So I would suggest this bit here is not standard, but for those of you that are doing extended, it would be, or those that want to eventually get to extended and try it, that would be something that's you must consider. So I think that is obviously it's why it's not in this book, it's in the extended book. Right, so I won't be including that in your assessment. Well, good job we did that. Wise, don't want that. So what is your lesson like? So we have tomorrow and Wednesday. But Thursday is going to be this, unless, does anyone know that there's a problem with the calendar? Let's have a look.